Chi Creation, the Tree of Life, Part 8. So, when we look at the tentacles, we can see like the pareidolia in the black spot, even though it's just one spot. So, like, in terms of it like looking like people, it shows that there's that conscious element of like the entirety of the realm. And so as we're like a consciousness of ourselves, there's also that consciousness that we exist in is also a consciousness as well. And so, like a macro, so each realm is conscious. It's full of life, of souls, which are all conscious. But then like the whole is all connected to the light at the center of a tree. And so we see that representation for consciousness, for the sun, for the black hole, all that kind of thing. Oh, it is a bit blurry actually. That's a shame. It looks good when it's small. So in the same sense, it's got its see-through body, and then it's got the consciousness, but it's split. A bit like the sunlight. That's what the the first episode, when I showed you the cymatic patterns, and it's like the white lines, and then it gets to the point where you see the cymatic patterns where it looks like rainbow lines, and they're all kind of like, it's showing you the separation of light. And so like to exist there, that's what the sun splits for. So they're the same as those tentacles. They're the same as the first picture, like the transparent body, the stars within it and such, and that pathway. So the pathways, the lines that come from the centre, we've got that one. The pathways that lead to the tubes, which are hollow, but you can see the stars, and you've got the consciousness as well. A dome. And then the black dome. So the glass dome above the black dome. And so, are we like owls, and how then that translates to the rest of anatomy and the rest of life in that way. So it's not just small creatures like this. So it's everything with, the eyes, basically. And all the different formations of how nature can form the eyes as well. Like insect eyes and such. So when you get this, you see little star patterns. It's got like a container as such, which that can take different shapes. But also you got this yin-yanging effect. I'm sure I had another picture. It might not have downloaded properly. It might be one of them AVI files or whatever and stuff. But so I might not be able to re-find it. I have looked, but but it was like a Klein bottle, and it looked like you could see it. You know what I mean? You can see it there in a way, but I'm not sure whether it is the same picture or not. I think there were another one. But also in comparison to like the wave, we see the ocean wave patterns, the froth, the sunlight gets caught in there, and then also comparing that with the realm and the sun, the black hole, so you can see how that's like the black hole there, and the light traveling around it, and then how it's being fed or feeding the sun, whichever way around it is. And that's like that relationship between them both as part of the creation of the realm. So that's a Klein bottle. Another example. And so in terms of like thinking like the black hole aspect of how it's created in that way, or the functionality of it. So how it fits with it. This one's got the Aurora Borealis colours. So like we were talking about like the Tree of Life, and all that kind of thing. And so all the lightning that goes through those tunnels, it's kind of like an example of that. But even when you zoom in, you can see like it looks like a sun and then like this cloud going around it and stuff. It looks bright there as well, but it's kind of like more clouds, whatever formation of clouds, whether it's water crashing and all that kind of stuff. But it catches the sunlight in that way. You see like that. Whereas that's got the actual like shine to it. I know it's not exactly, but zoom in, zoom out, and you get more detail sometimes. But it kind of looks like a star field, you know. And the light, because it's green lightning, you know, in that kind of way. It's a shame. So then you got these. I should have done it that way. It's a sea angel. I've got more pictures of them later on. So in terms of, we see it that way. I mean, you know, at first glance, you could say, you know, it looks like the Big Bang and all that kind of stuff. Sorry about colours and stuff, brightness and contrast and detail. It's not really detailed. It's got like a bit of a blurry edge anyway and stuff like. But we can see this shape. You know, how we describe the Big Bang and all these kind of things. And you know, like I said, it'd be easy just to relate it to that and say that's what it is. But you know, on that narrative of like the infinite tiny silence, then we can see it a little bit differently. You know, in terms of like, this is a tree. It's a tree which is made of light, so it fills the universe. So like 99% of the universe is like dark matter. Or this is what it is. In spirit terms, it'd be considered light matter because you'd be able to see it. So like when you're astral projecting, you can follow those pathways and such. It even looks like it's got a trunk, you know, branches in ways. So, you know, part of the anatomy of the sea angel and such, it's upside down, but that's where we get the tree in that way, this shape, because that looks more domed. So is that like the top of a tree? And so that part as well, it's like the yin and yang, and we look at it sideways. And so we've got one above, one below, and see where the sun sets into the horizon, all that kind of stuff. So that's where the wave comes, and the wave comes crashing, it crashes, and that's where the flower is. So you see how the flower, and we've got the paintings or the pictures which are illustrated on the petals, and it shows you all the patterns coming out and such. So then like the monkey face flower or the lion face flower, and so why the lion has a nose which projects out like a dog and such. So it's how, you know, how all that relates in terms of it was the Big Bang, wasn't it? But the infinite tiny silence. And see if it's still expanding. Like, if it were an explosion, wouldn't the explosion still have to be pushing out from center for it to be still expanding? You know, I know there'd be like a trail effect afterwards, but that'd eventually stop. So, you know, where is that? But so I don't know. It gives an explanation for why it would continue to expand because it's a tree, and why it wouldn't destroy everything, all that kind of thing. In the individual flowers, they can expand and contract and create heat, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, maybe even create material that way and such. So another aspect is like, you know, do these contain a realm each? Are they like mother realms to the rest of the tree, being its root? Because these are all small. All the flowers would be tiny, wouldn't they? So there's like loads of realms amongst all that. Oh, your heart shape. It's split in the middle. So you see your reflection. And then we've got the other aspect of it. So each individual flower has got its what's it called? It's black hole, you know what I mean? So it's got like the black dome of that, and it's got the dome that goes over it, and then it's part of a tree, which is one kind of pocket in itself, and then that tree is again in another container, which is this. But you see, like all the starlight at the end, so like the light. If we all shared that vision, and this light is what kind of comes down the ear, then like a fish's tail, if it sways from side to side, then that gives it a causation for it to create the cycles of a sun. And so it makes a little circle, a wide circle, and then back again for each season. So you've got another example of it, in a sense of like, you know, it's a creature, and it's like it's like tree limbs, you know. So if you turned it that way, you know, you can see like that tree shape towards it. But also it's see-through. So in terms of the light tree, it looks like that in that way. So you kind of compare it in that sense of like, you know, where all the light's coming from. It could be from wrong way. It might be coming from that end because it is white, like around its eye. And you see the black hole and then the sunlight coming from it and all that kind of stuff. But then like its head is like white as well. And so, you know, it depends which way you kind of look at it from in a way. And so another example, it's kind of like very pinecone like in terms of its shape and such. So there could be an abundance of realms in all different shapes in that way. And again, encased. So, you know, it looks like all stars and all that kind of stuff. So again, another example of that light tree, like seeing it in that anatomy. Again, a realm, another realm, in that kind of sense. But then you got all these as well. So like the illusion of size. It's like all star fields in this invisible tree limb. Like the brightness of them. Yeah, all kind of explosion. It could be going up, it could be coming sideways. It's really difficult to decide. Obviously, when we're talking about the ocean wave, that's what we experience when we're at the beach. So when we look at this, it really does not have to be a fiery explosion. Like the sunlight going through the ocean waves is the matchup that we find when the ocean does that. It's not that, we don't create an explosion and then find a matchup, because that's destructive, and this is creation. And so, like the windows of spirit, we have a wave, the sunlight in the wave, creating that window. You see the window? How it projects the light forward. I see it in a 3D sense. And you see those lines? That can develop it as well. So you can see that 3D perspective. Which is, it's how the wave creates that projection, how it projects you into this world. It's like part of the dynamics of the design of it in that way. It's a bit different. It's got, you see, it's like a sun there and a sun there. There's a bit of a green tint to them. I don't know when my phone's picking that up. I'll zoom in a bit more, see if that happens. So you like that green there? There's some of that on them, but it's not happening in terms of getting them to take it. Around there mainly anyway. So it's quite bright in the centre, but you can still see a tint of it. So, in terms of like determining the colours of the suns and such, because the jacket can go over those different colours, then it's showing you different examples of the world in a sense. And, look at the shape as well. Like the sun's like above the dome in this example. So there could be lots of different examples of how this functions and stuff. And then it depends what's in there and stuff like that. It's like, is it the land on that side and that the sky? In the same sense there. It's like you can see like the green. Again, the multiple domes. Or 1, 2, 3. Debatable. All the stars on the inside. And there's anatomy I've not mentioned with these and stuff kind of thing. Like the crab's claws and stuff kind of thing. So how that kind of functions in part of the design, the torus field and such. But also you can see all the like lightning patterns. And so, you know, like it's see-through, you got that tree of life aspect of things, all that kind of thing. Have a spine as well, and associating that with tree of life. These are sea angels. So it's got its wings out. It's a bit blurry, is that one? But you can see where it splits there. Can't turn that one. So again, sunlight, the waves, crashing waves, and the association with that and the Big Bang, but changing it to that infinite tiny silence. Stars, but also like water splashing, and so the sunlight shines through each one, which is like a reference to the source of the sun being that one for each star, for each bead of water which is splashing in air. That is so you know. I mean, each star is its own sun anyway, but it's again abundance of stars and such. And also clear like water, so we're like bubbles in water, so bubbles in space, and bubbles of consciousness. See sunlight there. And also a part of a realm it's traversing, as we've got this inlet part, you know, a part of the peacock feather. Where it comes in, that's where the waves come in. So the waves would come round, and that's what creates your vision. And this is the entire window, I suppose. A photo of space in a star and all that kind of stuff. So in comparison and such. So, you know, if these were like explosions, it'd move a lot faster. I mean, I know it's a photograph, but I don't know if any documented, you know, have a documented movement of this and stuff. So like the aurora, so like coming from the chakra. I think it looks like blue sky. If that's to be a horizon and the sun setting, despite the sun being there. Yeah, as conceptualities and stuff. It's like look at the sky, you know, in that kind of way. beautiful one. It's about what sun, about what horizon. It could be water there reflecting it. And again, sky again. So like clouds. It's got that blue colour. And then your aurora. So this it's supposed to be a deep sea creature. And you know, basically it's like a stem of a leaf, you know, even looks kind of leafy in that part, or feathery in the ways and stuff kind of thing, but it's got these capsules, you know, like the bottles containing the universe. You got the black hole part at the top as well. It looks like a black hole there as well. On all of them really, but and so again, in terms of like referencing the creature to the limbs of a tree and such, and seed casings. So you know, like wheat, etc. So like why we get that matchup, if it exists in the heavens and such, it's just that it's imperceivable to the light, to the eye, in that kind of way. Which is why I kind of brought up the thing at the beginning, like the light, the cymatic patterns, and being able to see through it. You see, like a tree. See, this is one of them creatures, but it looks like a flower, a flower and a backbone. But also, you can still see the flower patterns. You know, like wheat again. You see that how it comes off. You know, one side and next side. But it's also see-through. It also looks like lining. It's like the sun. Obviously the sun there as well. A beetle light. So it's like lit up. It's like, you know, like a lighthouse. And each one's got that. It's there with red and the light in between. That one looks like it's got two eyes. So like consciousness again. So another example of one of these. And see, people like transparent or translucent either. No, they're transparent in parts. There's all this that's coming off it as well. I like all the connection to it all. You see how it connects to the light, all of these. It's again all about lightning. I've seen it like space in that way. There's like a black hole. It's in a square there. That's got like a doorway, a pathway. They look like TV screens. But that one looks rounded. You can see that looks rounded. And a little bit to that one as well. saying that it looks rounded. It's just got a square cover. I see a light at the tips. But we'll discuss the rest of them next time. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Cheers.